Well, good morning, everyone. This is a video demo for Project One, and that is to make a line drawing of your face in GIMP. So I'm going to start by opening GIMP. So I have GIMP saved on or pinned to the bottom of my my screen on my taskbar. So I'm going to click on that, and it does take a second to load, especially if you haven't loaded it yet. Like if it's the first time, it takes even longer. But even if you've already loaded it, it does take a minute to come up, as does any Adobe product as well. So when I open it, this is what I see. Over on the left here in the upper left-hand corner are the tools that I'll be using from time to time. In the center here is your canvas window. That's where you'll see your canvas that you're working within. Over here on the right, you'll see your layers window. Also, your tool presets are over here too. So, for example, when I click on a tool, it'll show me some of my settings that I can change while I'm using this tool. And I can move any of these docs if I want. If I click the configure this tab button in the upper right of this box here, I can also detach any tab that I want. I like to do that sometimes with my layers window here. So if I go to detach tab, now I can move this around. I can move it away from these if I want and see them. Okay. Um, so I can also lock the tab to the dock if I want, but I'm going to leave that out. These are my layers. And that's basically what we'll be working with. Our tools over here on the left, the canvas in the middle, and our layers window for the most part. So first thing I want to do is start a new file. So to do that in GIMP, I'm going to go up to File, New, or Control plus N. And we're going to make a file that is width-wise, it's going to be, well, let me check something here. Notice here that these are locked here, these X and Y. And I just clicked on Advanced Options here. That should be okay. Let's try. Our width is going to be 480. And then our height is going to be 640. Okay, so I can go in there and just click in the box and enter the numbers I want. If you can't do that, you might have some issues with your XY resolution. What you do is you unlink these X and Y resolutions by breaking the chain by clicking on it. Let me try that again. So File, New, and again, if you want to click on Advanced Options, if you're having trouble with these numbers, like for example, sometimes when you change one number, it'll adjust the other one. In this case, it's not happening for me, so I can just punch the numbers in here. 480 by 640. But if you are having trouble with these numbers, you can unlink these dimensions, and then you should be able to put whatever numbers you want in there. Click OK, and notice there I have 480 by 640, and I can check that by going to Image on the top and going to Canvas Size. You can see I have 480 by 640 there. And what I was trying to show you earlier is, let's say I want to relock this chain by clicking on it. See how this chain now is rejoined? Now, when I click on the arrow for one number, for example, the width, it's going to change the number of the height automatically. You see how it's changing that? So I'll go back to 480 here, and notice there it's back to 480 by 640. So I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so now that we have our files set up here, now I want to bring a picture of myself in. And I saved a photo of myself on the computer, so I'm going to go find that. And I'm just going to drag it in. Let me make this window a little bit smaller here. There we go. And I'm going to go down to 202 projects, line drawing a face, and then here's my image. Now this image is already 480 by 640. I already adjusted it in Photoshop to match this. So when you bring a photo in like that, it's going to ask you if you want to convert your color profile or keep it. Let's just keep it. That's all you have to worry about. And notice there, it's perfectly scaled for this size because I already did that with the photo in Photoshop. But let's say you didn't. For example, let's say you're extremely zoomed in on this. And one way you can do that is if you go to image, just go to scale image. And here, notice this, I can go up with the numbers and scale it extreme. Let's say when you brought your image in, it came in to be about this big, and it's just too much, right? Actually, that's not too bad, really. But let's scale it up a little bit more. Let's say when you imported your photo, here, let's go up to image, scale image, and again, let's bring this up even more. Okay, say it came in about this big because your camera is, very detailed. So if your photo is too big, let's go to the magnifying glass here, the zoom tool. Now notice there, if I click on the zoom tool, if I click on my tool presets over here in the upper right hand corner, it looks like a little TV set in the upper right. I can zoom in or out by selecting right here. So if I want to zoom out, I'll click the zoom out tab and then just go on here and click. Okay. And so that's how you do that basically. Or you can hold down control. The control will give you the opposite. So now I'm going up. Now I'm going back. Control will give you the opposite if you hold down control. Okay, so now let's take this picture. Let's move it around here. And we're really zoomed in on that. But we want to, let's say the image is so big that you had to zoom out on it. So now what we're going to do, let's zoom back in on it too, just so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm holding control to zoom in. And now we can take that image. Let's say the image came in and it made your image is huge, right? And you want to make it 480 by 640. Well, you can just go into this by, again, going to image, scale image, and then just put in the numbers that you want right here. 480, and then 640 down here if you need to. Okay, click scale. And notice there it's scaled down, okay? So don't stress if your image comes in huge. You can always resize it to fit your canvas. Now I can click the magnifying glass and zoom in again. Again, I can hold control to change it to plus, or I can do that up here. Okay, that's pretty good right there. So another thing you might want to consider doing is cropping it. In other words, I don't need all this detail on my torso. I just want to kind of do from the shoulders up maybe. So what I'm going to do is go up to the toolbar up here and find my crop tool, which is right here. So I'm going to click on the crop tool. I'm going to go out on the canvas here somewhere, and I'm just going to select an area. Let's say, just to kind of keep the same dimensions where it's higher than it is wide, like that. And now inside this, I can just go anywhere, left click the mouse button, and move this box to where I need it to be. Okay, that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll narrow this a little bit. So something like that would work, I think, really well. So once you get it set up where you like it, just go ahead and hit enter and watch what happens. It crops it down. But the problem is it may have changed the image size. Let's see. Yeah, the image size now is smaller, right? So I'm going to need to go back in here, do 480 by 640. Okay, so punching those numbers in, and notice there now we've got it scaled right. So you might have to do a little scaling with the image, or with the image / scale image tool, and play with these dimensions after you crop it. So that gives me a lot to go on there. I like that. That's a good place to start, where I don't have too much detail below my chest here. And that's kind of basically how you set up your document. And in the next part of this video, we're going to look at how to set it up to begin the drawing process. Okay, so when I was showing you the layers window, this is what I mean. When we bring the picture in, it creates its own layer, and then we have the background underneath on its own layer. So your layers here will be stacked here, based on that hierarchy. So the next step, once we get our photo size to 480 by 640, the next step is to apply the posterize filter. And we are going to go into colors. And if you go down to the bottom here, toward the bottom, you'll see the posterize filter. So you want to click on colors, posterize. And then the levels in the handout, reduce the number of values to 6. So let's go to 6. And that doesn't look like it's doing anything. So I must be on the wrong layer. So let me cancel that. Let's go back to our layers window. Let's see here. And it looks like my layers window. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we were on the wrong layer. Make sure that your layers are showing here. And that is the, you see like the 3 documents stacked on top of each other. And that'll usually be over here. Let's close that maybe and then try to bring it back out. Windows, dockable dialogues. We'll go to layers. And there it is. Now it's showing up there. So the layers, you can see the 3 documents there. Okay, so once that's there, now what we're going to do is apply the posterize filter. Now you want to see your layers window so you can make sure you're on the right layer. I was on the background layer and it wasn't doing anything. So select the picture layer and then we'll go up to colors, posterize. And there we go. That's 3. We want to bring this level to 6. Something like that. So 6 is our number that we're going to use, let's say, for that. And then you can see there's some good detail there. Click OK. And the other thing we want to do is desaturate this or take the color out. So we're going to go up to, let's go to colors, hue, saturation. Let's try that. So colors, hue, saturation. And just take the saturation out. You can also darken it a little bit if you need to, something like that. Click OK. And you can also even do brightness and contrast too if you want. So if you go up to colors again and you go to brightness contrast, if you adjust the contrast, you might be able to see the lines a little better. That looks good like that. Click OK. And so now you have an image that you can work with that has clearly defined lines, which will make it a lot easier for you to draw. Okay, and so that's basically how you set up your image to begin drawing. And in the next part of this video, we'll actually start the drawing process. Okay, and the next step then, when we start the drawing here, we're going to, again, make sure that we have done the proper sizing, the desaturating the image, taking out the color, I guess, and also posterizing, applying that filter. So the next step is to start the drawing. And basically, we're just going to kind of trace right over this, but we're going to do it on a new layer. Notice here we have a background layer, and we have the portrait layer here. And we're going to create a new layer up on top of this. And we're going to actually do the drawing on its own layer. So let's go ahead and create a new layer. And if you go down to the bottom of the layers window here, you'll see where it says create a new layer and add it to the image. Let's click that and then just click OK after that. That's a little extra step there, but just click OK. And notice here the layer now, it's a blank layer and it's on top of the other 2. Okay, that's the layer you want to be on when you start drawing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab my magnifying glass from my toolbar and I'm going to zoom in so I can see the lines where I need to start drawing. So I'm going to start here at my shoulders here and my neck. And I'm going to use a pen tool. or the brush tool, paintbrush tool or pencil tool is fine. I'm going to grab the pencil tool here under paintbrush. And I'm going to change the foreground color by clicking this white box, the foreground color. I'm going to make it maybe like a pinkish color so it'll really stand out while I'm drawing. Click OK. And of course we want this to be about 1 pixel wide. So I'm going to go over to my tool options in the upper right hand corner. And where it says size, bring that down from 12 to 1. Oops. You can also just type it in here, 1.00. And now I have a 1 pixel size line. And you can see there now I can start drawing. So you want to use a 1 size line, and I'm just using the mouse. You can use a stylus if you have one. Or for me, I'm just going to use the mouse here, and I'm just going to start with this line here and just hold the left mouse button down and drag the mouse. And just take your time. And you can take your finger off the mouse here and it'll keep what you've drawn and then start from there. Again, left click the mouse button. And again, I would just encourage you to just take your time, go slow, and don't hurry through the process. Okay, you can stop there. Let's say, oh, I made a mistake here. I don't like that. Well, no problem. You can go over to the toolbar. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. And you don't like that last line you did, you could grab your eraser tool up here in the toolbar and just leave it at 1 pixel size so you don't have to change it, and just erase that line if you don't like it. Okay, and so we'll just keep going with that shade right there. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool again and we'll just keep going. Just do the best you can and just take, like I said, take your time, go slow. You don't have to hurry through anything. Okay, and that closes that off, and then maybe we can go from here and draw a line out here to kind of delineate the ear. Again, I'm just taking my time, going real slow. And just again, you don't have to hurry there. I kind of messed up there. So see how now once I undo it, I lost all of that, right? So that's why it really is important to take your finger off the mouse button once in a while and just stop and look at your progress. So there I'm just stopping and seeing where I need to keep going. Maybe right there, and then I can do one right here. Okay, I'm just kind of delineating the details for the ear. Here I can do another line inside of here. That might, again, kind of give it that place for another shade eventually. Something like that. And again, just keep going. Take your time. There's more to the ear actually right here, so I could probably just do kind of an imaginary line here to join up with these. So I'm kind of envisioning where the line sort of disappeared. And just sort of filling in the blank, I guess. Okay. Okay, and then you're just kind of filling in the lines where you need to. Like here's where the glasses start. So again, I'll probably, start on those as well. And just kind of to delineate where those start and stop, I guess. And then there's a line here. And there's a little like space there. And yeah, that's the process. So you just every once in a while, again, take your finger off the mouse button, and you just kind of see where the borders are, where the hairline is. Again, take my finger off the mouse there. And then just take your time. And this is the most time consuming part of the project. So, you know, plan to spend a couple of days on it, I think, and you'll get this done. I wouldn't wait till the last minute to do this, because using a number 6 on your posterize filter, you're going to have quite a bit of detail, or your picture, your image should have quite a bit of detail on it. Okay. And so that's the basic process. You want to just keep going, keep drawing borders around the areas that show different values, and eventually you're going to arrive at an image of yourself. And then in the next part of the video, when I finish this, I'll show you how to do the finishing touches and then save it out. Okay, just came back here. I wanted to show you, every once in a while, it's a good idea to check your progress. So I'm going to zoom out on this, grab my magnifying glass. And again, if I hold down Control, it'll give me either, if it's set to zoom in, if I hit Control, it'll zoom out. And then when I take my finger off, it zooms back in. You can also access that here in the upper right here with the tool option. You can change it to zoom in or zoom out in the upper right here under the tool options icon. So anyway, we're going to zoom out and take a look at this. And again, notice here on the bottom here, if you look at this, let me turn off my, let me go back to the layers window. If I turn off that middle layer, you can see that these lines aren't joined. And ultimately, I want them all to be joined somehow. So what I'm going to do is trace these lines on where my shoulders are and go all the way down to the bottom and across, so they're all touching. So the easiest way to do that probably is to grab your pencil tool, go to the spot where you last, or where it's right there on the border, click once maybe, hold down Shift, go down to the bottom of the screen. While I'm holding Shift, notice there it does a straight line while I'm holding Shift, and click once, and there it made a straight line. Same thing here, we can click here, hold Shift down, go all the way across, and we make another straight line. Same thing here, let's click on once on here, hold down Shift, make a straight line. And again, I'm holding Shift while I do this. And there you can see how they're kind of joined together. This one's kind of acting weird here. Let me go here, click once, Shift. Well, it's joined there. You can't see it perfectly right there, but you can see that it is joined. Let me try that one more time here. I'm not sure why that's not cooperating. Kind of went off the screen there. Anyway, those are joined there, and I can even probably just draw. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I could just do Shift again, come down. Nope, that didn't work. There we go. And then right here again, turn the screen back on, then I can just draw this. Let me zoom in again on that. Hold down Shift to zoom in this time, because I switched it. Okay, and then now I can just go draw this. Oops, wrong one. So I zoomed in massively there, it looks like. So let me go back to this layer. Oh no, I want to go to this layer. Not sure what happened there. Oh, I zoomed way out. So let's go ahead and zoom back in. You can see how small it is there. So that can happen, but don't panic. You just either zoomed out too far or zoomed in too far, depending on what you're seeing or not seeing. Okay, so maybe one more. There we go. So don't forget, once you do that, to grab the pen tool. Don't leave the magnifying glass there. You'll zoom in like I did. And we're just going to make sure that those are all connected. There we go. Those are touching. And then over here, I've got a little error there. So I'm going to erase that. I'm going to see if I can fix that. And I'm just going to erase it all right here. And you can see there I got a straight line there, but it's not quite exactly on the border, but that's okay. As long as they're touching, that's what matters. And let's see, pen tool. Oh, yep, I'm on the right layer. I just want to make sure. And I got to hold down shift, so I forgot to do that. Okay. So hold shift down and see if you can get that going there. Oh, it looks like I switched to black. So if your color changes on your foreground, sometimes I do on accident, no problem. You can grab your color picker tool up here on the top. It looks like a little iodine dropper. And you grab that and just click on an area with the color you want. So I just clicked into the pink line here on my canvas. Now I can go back to my pencil. And I can draw that in, hold down shift, and get a straight line going here. There we go. That's much better. Now you can see I kind of fixed that. And then down here, it looks like we got a little more of a problem here. So I'm going to erase that. I'm not changing the size of the eraser because then that'll change the size of my brush. And we're just going to erase that inside line there. Just kind of clean it up a little bit. And then again, go on here. Let's zoom in even more so we can really see it. Hit control there if you need to zoom in. And then grab our pencil tool, don't forget that. And then just go right there on the line, hold down shift. Oh, didn't work that time, but we can get close. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then we'll get the eraser here. Hold down shift. Or just clean that up a little bit. Just kind of improvising here. Okay, and then grab the pencil. Normally it isn't this hard. I don't know why it wasn't cooperating today. Normally it just goes right into a straight line. Okay, so those are all connected. Now we can zoom out and see that these are all connected. And now what we can do is draw in within this border. So basically, we're going to cut off this bottom part. So I'm just going to keep it all within the border here. And I'm going to work on this bottom part. And then once I'm finished with that, then I'll show you guys how to save it out and finish it up. And also, you can always turn off this second layer if you want to see your progress. And notice there's quite a bit of detail. And you should have quite a bit of detail on yours as well by the time you get finished. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this bottom part, and then I'll show you how to save it out and do the final touches. Okay, so we're back, and again, looking at the detail, I did work on some of the bottom here. And notice here, I didn't do every single detail, and that's okay. I mean, like these little tiny spots in the middle of the shirt, those aren't really necessary. So I got enough detail though where I can really create some nice depth. You know, I didn't do all the lines in my mustache and beard. I did a lot of them, but not all of them. And I think I still have enough detail to make it worthwhile. So before we finish, though, I want to change my background color to white, and I'll show you why in just a second. So my background's black, but I want to make sure that my foreground color up here by the tools, the square in front is changed to white. If not, you can click on the square and change to whatever color you want there. Then grab my paint can. Make sure you're on the background layer that you want to change, then click. And notice there now my background is white. If I shut these off, you'll see the white background there. So now when I turn off the second layer, which is the photograph, you can see the white background with the pink lines. Well, part of this assignment you have to change these lines to black eventually. So I'm going to zoom in great detail here. Grab my magnifying glass, hold down Control. Sometimes it doesn't react. There we go. So click on it once. And I'm going to zoom in on one of these pink lines really, really high. There we go. And now I'm going to grab, you see this tool up on the toolbar that says Fuzzy Select Tool? If I left click on that and hold the mouse button down, I can get Select by Color. So if I click that, I should be able to just select all of it. But before I do that, I want to go over to my tool options in the upper right-hand corner. Looks like a little TV set. And check everything here. Here's my threshold. I might need to change that. Select by, we're just going to keep it at composite. And I'm just going to click into the area where there's pink. And it should select all of it. And if it doesn't, that means I need to make sure I'm on the correct layer for one. See, notice here I'm on the background layer. You want to make sure you're on the layer with your drawing, correct? So make sure you're on the right layer and then go in, grab that Select by Color tool and click on one area. And notice there's marching ants around all of the lines. Okay. And it should get all of it. Let's see. Let's zoom out and see if it's gotten everything. And it looks like it's gotten just about all of it. Maybe I missed a few here, you can see. But it got most of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to fill in the color with black. So I'm going to change the foreground color here. I can either click this little arrow to exchange the foreground with the background to get black, or I can just click on the box and change to black here. And now my foreground is black. And now that I have all this selected, I can go up to Select. Let's see, I want to fill. So let's see if we can find a shortcut for that. Okay, let's see. Fill with foreground color. See that? And then the shortcut for that is Control plus comma. So you can either do it under Edit, so Edit, Fill with FG or foreground color, or Control plus comma is your shortcut. And so there you go. Look at that. It just filled it all in for me. Okay, so now to deselect that, you can go up to Select, and you can choose None, or Shift Control A is your shortcut. Okay, now I've deselected that. Now I'm going to zoom back out, and notice there, it looks like it got everything. So that is basically what we're looking at doing here for this project. So once you're done with that, again, it helps to have a white background if you have a different color ink that you drew with. And then you can just select, zoom in on your layer that you drew on, select that color using the Color by Select tool, and then filling it in under Edit, Fill with foreground color, or Control plus. And that should pretty much do it. And so once you have that done, then the next step is to save it out. So you're going to export this out as a JPEG file. So let me show you how to do that. So the last thing, you're going to go up to File. You're going to choose Export or Export As. Here, notice it's set up as a PNG. We don't want to save it as a PNG. We want to go down here on the bottom with the plus sign where it says Select File Type by Extension. Click that plus sign and scroll down till you find JPEG. And there's JPEG image. Click on that. And before I export it, though, I want to name it correctly. So we're going to follow the naming system for my class. 1 dash, and then you're going to put your last name. In my case, I'll put my last name, but you're going to use your last name, 1 dash, your last name, JPEG, and I'll just go ahead and save this onto into my folder that I had the original image. So I'm going to find that under computer graph. Make sure you know where you're saving it, is my point here. 1-Acker, what's today? I'm going to put the date. 8/19/23. You don't have to, I don't want you to put the date. In fact, let's leave that out. We'll just say acker.jpg. And we're going to save it into my folder so I know where it is. Click export. And it might take a second. GIMP can be kind of slow, but it's a free program. What do you expect? And you can bump that up to 100% quality if you want. Okay. So let me minimize that. And so if I go into that folder, computer graphics, computer 202 projects, and right there, it looks like we have it. So you can double click on it and open it with your photo app. And that's the file you're going to attach in Canvas.